Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Sunday Night Live at 8:35. First, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And honestly, today can actually bring up a lot of emotions for women too. Love, pressure, grief, guilt, expectations, comparison. So tonight kind of feels like the perfect time to go ahead and talk about this topic because a lot of women spend their lives trying to figure out, is it intuition or is it fear? Sometimes you think you're actually following intuition, but you're actually following fear. And that misunderstanding is why we keep leaving things that matter the most to us. Oh, that's a big one, isn't it? So we are actually going to talk about the difference tonight, because if you misread discomfort as danger, you keep abandoning yourself every time life gets uncomfortable. So let's go ahead and define these first, because a lot of women, like I said, they think fear and intuition is the same, and it's really not. Fear is usually reactive. It wants immediate relief, immediate certainty, and immediate protection. Fear says it's time to leave, run, shut down, start over, before you ever have to feel exposed, uncomfortable, or uncertain. This isn't even isn't even safe. Fear feels urgent, loud, emotionally reactive, catastrophic, and avoidant. Where intuition guides you towards the truth, fear wants immediate relief, and intuition wants alignment. Intuition feels different than this. It's quieter, more grounded, more steady. And it doesn't always tell you to avoid discomfort. Sometimes intuition says stay, slow down, pay attention, or keep going. It can feel grounded, calm, clear, and steady, even when it says this is hard. Remember, that is a big difference between intuition and fear. Intuition, like I said, is more reactive. Fear is more reactive. I don't know what's going on with me tonight, but I'm correcting myself and continuing to move forward instead of starting over. So now let's kind of connect this right to real life, because this is where it becomes important when we talk about examples. First, a big one: weight loss and a health journey, right? You start off, you are meal prepping, doing workouts, you have your Stanley water bottle, and you got a lot of motivation. But then the scale called and said, hey, you haven't really moved much as far as losing weight, maybe even in a couple weeks, because maybe you thought weight loss was linear, and it's not. But that's a whole other topic, right? So since it called and it's keeping your weight the same, so it called and you're stalled, life gets busy. Maybe you miss a couple days and it's not exciting anymore losing weight. Suddenly your brain says, see, here we go again. It's time to restart. Another area, maybe it's business or doing content online. You start up, you show up every day online, you're posting consistently for a few days, but the second the validation doesn't come fast enough because you think going viral is what you need to do. So the second that does not come fast, the majority of people do not go viral in the first 2 weeks of doing content online. That is not the norm, but we want it to be the norm. So now all of a sudden we didn't go viral, so we didn't get validated with what we think should happen, and your brain interprets this as failure. That's fear. Another big one would be relationships. Maybe you had to have a hard conversation with somebody. You had a moment of disconnection or uncomfortable feelings, and immediately your brain says, maybe this relationship is wrong. Let's leave and start over. Or how about, there's been so many areas of my own life where leaving has felt safer than staying. I've talked about some of them where starting over definitely felt easier than just staying in the discomfort, the uncertainty, the shame, or rebuilding. Where actually just staying in it and moving through it is actually what I needed to do so that I did not continuously want to start over. Every time I left, when that happened, I was reinforcing the belief that I could not trust myself to stay. That's big. We've talked about this before. Every time you leave to start over, you are reinforcing that you do not trust yourself to stay. So what happens? You start interpreting discomfort as danger. It is not. I would say 90+% of the time, discomfort is not danger. When it is danger, which is a whole nother topic than what we're talking about, yes, that is something that's completely different. But let's say you are interpreting discomfort as danger. You think it's not aligned. This is not working. I should probably leave. But most of the time, nothing is ever actually wrong. You're just in that moment of discomfort, of it being boring. This is the first time you've actually stayed instead of starting over. It's going to feel different. Trust me, the more you stay, the less likely you are going to allow a moment of discomfort to be danger. You're less likely to think of it as danger. So let me say that again. The more you decide to stay, the less likely that moment of discomfort you had will feel like danger. Because you've been through it before in something else, and you know it's not danger. Okay? You know there's nothing actually wrong. You know you're just entering a new area where you need to work on trusting yourself to be able to get through that. Because we know our nervous system would much rather keep you in the familiar than let you grow, because your nervous system wants to keep you safe. And where are we safe? We're safe in starting over because we are experts in starting over. Remember, not every urge to leave is wisdom. It's usually not, right? If you want to listen to your own intuition, is it really intuition, like I said, that you're listening to? Or is it fear that's telling you to leave and start over? And when you can start to learn the difference between the two, it becomes much easier for you to be able to make the decision to stay versus leaving. Because now you know it is not actually something that is your intuition telling you to do that. It's your fear of staying that's telling you to leave. We usually like to restart when it feels unsafe. Boredom, I've said that so many times. Boredom feels like failure. When boredom feels like failure, you are immediately thinking you need to start over. Uncertainty feels dangerous. It's not dangerous. Most of the time, it's not dangerous. Now, if you're like going to jump off of a building, and you're not certain how far down it is, you probably need to remember all of your training on what you did to make you want to jump off that high building and when you need to, pull the parachute. But that's like a time when it's dangerous. Usually it's not dangerous. It's just uncertainty is making you feel like it's dangerous. There's also an emotional vulnerability that feels threatening. We don't want to feel vulnerable because we are threatened by our own feeling of vulnerability. So we tend to leave to regulate ourselves emotionally. Remember, leaving gives you temporary relief, but staying builds self-trust. Let me say that again. Leaving gives temporary relief, but staying builds self-trust. So if this pattern has been ruining your life, The question becomes, how do you actually start changing it? How do you actually start changing it? How do you change? How do you shift yourself into realizing that staying is actually what you want to do? That your intuition, if it's telling you to stay, is probably right. If you think your intuition is telling you to leave when it's not an actual dangerous type of situation, it's probably you being uncomfortable that's telling you to leave, not intuition. The first step of knowing when to leave is actually to start to learn awareness. And you learn awareness through doing this, because there are still times where I want to leave. I'm like, I'll just start over. It's easier to start over than to just keep going, because I don't want to sit in this uncomfortability. Is that a word? So usually we tend to leave automatically. As soon as it feels uncomfortable, we leave. But when we start learning awareness, which is step 1 in shifting our brain, we start noticing the exact moment when our brain says, forget it, start over, run. You have one hard conversation, one moment of disconnection, one uncomfortable feeling, and immediately your brain says, maybe this is wrong. Now, when you talk about it like that, it's kind of like, what? One, and I'm immediately something is wrong, and it's not. Okay? It's not automatically wrong. We don't need to keep saying this isn't working when we feel uncomfortable, because the truth is it may be working, or maybe it's not exactly at the moment where you think it should be, where you're at. But that doesn't mean it's not working. It just may be working on a different timetable than the one you put in your head, which very easily could be, I should have gone viral after 5 days of content. You could have the most amazing content in the world, but if it's not in front of the right audience, it's not going to go viral or be seen the way you want it to be seen. So step 1, again, notice the moment you want to leave. It is so important. And we talked about this, I believe 2 weeks ago, learning the moment you want to leave, because that's where you learn to change the pattern. You have to learn, this is the moment where I start thinking about leaving. Because if you don't realize that until you've already left, then you've already left to start over. You have to realize what is going on that's actually causing you to say, I think it's time to leave. That is big awareness, and it takes trial and error to learn it. Step 2, pause before you believe that feeling. That's where the 2-minute rule comes in, where we talk about pause for 2 minutes, sit on your hands if you have to, don't do anything, sit in the moment to determine if you really need to leave, or is this just you being uncomfortable. Because just because you feel uncomfortable does not mean something is wrong. Not every emotion deserves immediate action. That's big. Again, just because you feel uncomfortable does not mean something is wrong. Every emotion does not need immediate action. So before you start, and before you quit, and before you disappear, let's go to step 3, which is to ask, is this intuition, or is it just discomfort or fear? Is it actually a red flag, or is it the moment growth stopped feeling exciting? Because fear usually wants immediate relief. Intuition wants honesty. Then we go into step 4, staying long enough to gather evidence. This part really matters, okay? Most women never stay long enough to discover who they could have become. Wow. That is huge. We don't stay long enough to learn who we could become because we're letting fear make us start over because we were discomfortable and we decided to think it was intuition because we probably didn't understand the difference. So we started over rather than just staying in the discomfort and becoming the amazing women we are meant to be, or become more amazing than we are now. So we don't abandon yourself. Every time you leave in this discomfort, you are abandoning yourself. That was huge for me to see that. Not just, I'm not allowing myself to do what I'm supposed to do, but every time I leave, I'm technically abandoning the person I'm meant to be. Oops, drop that there. And honestly, this is exactly why I created the Break the Monday Loop. Break the Monday Loop, the 5-day stay challenge. Okay, because women do not need another emotional speech. Do you need another emotional speech? I know I don't need another emotional speech. It's nice to hear something every once in a while that's motivational, but that is not going to keep us going all the time. Because that's another thing. If you have to constantly be motivated instead of learning what is already causing you discomfort, being awareness and discomfort, understanding the difference between intuition and fear, you're not going to be able to move ahead. You don't need an emotion. You don't need a motivational speech every time things get are uncomfortable. Ugh. You do not need a motivational speech every time something gets uncomfortable. You need to learn to stop abandoning yourself the moment it does get uncomfortable. You need to learn. If something's uncomfortable and you want to leave, is it your fear telling you to leave? Because remember, fear is immediate. It does not want to feel uncomfortable. Your brain doesn't want that. Your brain wants you to feel safe. It wants you to go. Or intuition, it's in the calm. That's when you know. If you've sat for 2 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever you're at that point where you can sit and be like, I know I can wait longer than 2 minutes before I have to make this decision. We created the 2-minute rule to be a short period of time that anybody can do. But we also discussed that the 2-minute rule could turn into a 10-minute rule, a 20-minute rule. Whatever works best for you, whatever time frame works best for you to stay in what you're doing to the point where you finally realize, okay, this discomfort I can do. It's not that bad. I can keep going. So the Breaking the Monday Loop challenge, it's a 5-day challenge, and it starts Monday, May 18th, right here in this group. You do not need to be a different person. You just need to stop leaving yourself every time discomfort shows up. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in the the 5-day challenge. Okay. The 5-day challenge, it's going to be, every night, Monday through Friday, except Thursday night, the 21st, which will be all kinds of stuff in there. It will not be Thursday night. It will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 8 p.m. because I'll be flying late on Thursday night, so I won't be able to do that, and I don't want to give you guys a recording. I want to be on here live with you. So I will be coming on live for a 30-minute training. I also do have a workbook that I've already created for this. It's got lots of amazing information. Anybody can join the challenge for free just by being inside this group. There is a small charge for the workbook. Which I will be discussing that later with you all about all of that. But now we have been on for 20 minutes already. It's almost 9 o'clock, so I want to go ahead and be able to tell you guys, thank you for listening. Please let me know what questions you have. I did trip over some words tonight, so I'm sorry. I have been leaving it on my laptop and trying to look off that and scroll. Tonight I printed it out, and I realized that I need to not make it double-sided if I'm going to try to look on there and then talk to you about it with my notes, because making it double-sided, Well, I guess I could actually put the page number on it, and that would make a difference, because not having the page number on it and it being double-sided is not a good thing. But I didn't quit. That is an immediate example for you to see right there. I got a little uncomfortable because I repeated something earlier on. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but I noticed I repeated something because I hadn't flipped the page correctly. And I could have ended the live and restarted. We were only about 4 minutes in, I think. But I didn't. I just kept going. So that's an immediate example right there for you to see. Even though I felt uncomfortable and fear was telling me, oh, just stop it and start over again, I chose to listen to my intuition of continuing to go and be calm and do the live for you all. Because this is something I'm very passionate about. It has made an extremely huge difference in my life since I started doing this. I was dealing with a lot of issues for years. I mean, I'm almost 52. I've been dealing with this almost my entire life, where I procrastinate, start over, doesn't feel good, start over. And when I started trying to decide what I thought I was best to teach women, what I would be best for me to teach women, because God has given me the gift of teaching and serving others, this idea of breaking the Monday loop came to me. And when it came to me, I started living it every day. And living it every day, I have not restarted over and over and over again. I haven't even procrastinated a lot of things since I started it. And I started this back in early January. And there's been plenty of times where I could have stopped and started over, or decided I don't want to do this live, or, my content's not going viral, so I need to stop posting. But I'm just continuing to go, because I know that if the right woman has not seen my content yet, she will. If you are seeing this, you are the woman who needs to hear it. And I hope that you will join me and others for the Stay Challenge starting May 18th. If you have any questions or anything, if you want the workbook or something, let me know. The workbook is just a small fee of $7 for you to have the workbook, and it's pretty amazing. Right now, I'm not done with it, but it's like 10 pages, and it's just, I've put a lot of work into it. But even if you don't have it, doesn't matter. You'll still be able to get so much out of just watching the lives. So with that being said, I want to again say thank you for being here, for watching the live. If you're watching it on the replay, please put in #replay so I know how many people were watching live versus the replay. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. And again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, whether you're moms to 2-legged or 4-legged babies. I hope you had a fabulous day. Bye.